Let's talk some Oregon Ducks recruiting. As Oregon, they took care of business on Friday night against Michigan State. And as we saw this weekend, nothing comes easy in conference play. So good to see the Ducks get that win. Also, major developments on the recruiting trail. And I got Justin Hopkins from Scoop Duck on this video. We're going to talk about the visit list for this Ohio State game. Also, five-star defensive lineman Jakeem Stewart made a big announcement, and it involves the Ducks. So we're going to talk about that as well. But first, you Oregon fans, do me a favor and hit subscribe to the On3 Recruit channel. This is the best recruiting channel on all of YouTube. We need you guys subscribed. Go ahead, hit it. All right, let's bring on Justin Hopkins of Scoop Duck. And let's start with the big news that happened on Saturday. Jakeem Stewart, the number one player in the 2026 class, he reclassifies up to 2025. What does that mean? He is now the number 14 ranked player in the 2025 class, and Oregon makes his top list. He's going to be there this weekend, but overall, just generally speaking, in this recruitment, now that we only have about 10 or 12 weeks until the early signing period, where do you think Oregon stands?
Yeah, I mean, it's great that they're going to get him on campus. It's going to be his first official visit. And, that's a double-edged sword, right? Sometimes when you're first, you get to kind of set the bar and set the mood and set the tone. But on the bad side, you're the first visit, and he's going to take more, right? He's got that top four. I personally think that Oregon's probably third or fourth right now. I think there's a lot of buzz around USC. There's a lot of buzz around LSU for him at the moment. But, as I mentioned, with him taking this official visit, Oregon's going to kind of have its chance to come out swinging and could ultimately set the tone. And, I know the college football fans watching this don't need me to tell them, but that atmosphere is probably going to be pretty electric with Oregon and Ohio State this weekend.
Yeah, and if the Ducks can win, having Jakeem Stewart on campus for an official visit that weekend, we might be changing our tune of because I agree with you. I do think they're probably third or fourth in this recruitment right now. But like you said, a big visit weekend. If things go right for Oregon, we could be singing a different tune coming out of the weekend. All right, speaking of, let's go back to this weekend. The Ducks played on Friday night, and you don't usually see big visit weekends go down on a Friday night. You and I have covered a lot of Friday night games. It's usually they punt on even having a visit weekend on Friday nights. But the Ducks did not. They had a bunch of top targets on campus, especially for the 2026 class. Who should Oregon fans be on notice about that was on campus Friday night?
Yeah, there was some really intriguing, more so 2026 targets. Zion Ely kind of being the headliner, if you will, of that group, making his way out. Had a couple teammates with him. And Aiden Harris was another one that was on campus as well. I believe he's On3's number one ranked defensive lineman in 2026. Ely is the number one ranked 2026 edge in the class. So if you're gonna start there, you really want to build that line of scrimmage and that defensive line for Oregon. Yeah. I'd like to talk about Ely for a second because I think this is either like his third or fourth visit out to Oregon already early in his recruitment. And even though, he's an East Coast guy and Oregon's on the West Coast, I think the Ducks and Dan Lanning have prioritized him. And I don't want to say necessarily that Oregon leads, but they're certainly not outside of that top three, in my opinion, early on for Ely.
All right, let's take a look ahead to next weekend. Now, we're going to be talking a lot about this Oregon-Ohio State matchup as the week goes on, and this visitor list is going to grow. But there's one name that really stands out to me, and that's five-star corner Naeem Offord. I think it's kind of significant that he's taking his first visit to Oregon this season before he takes his first visit to Ohio State. There were some that were wondering if he was going to show up to this Iowa game this weekend. Naeem Offord was not in Columbus, but he's going to be in Eugene this weekend. What does this mean for the Ducks?
Yeah, that's I know you and I have done a lot of recruiting through the years. That's certainly one interesting storyline, right? An Ohio State commit is going to visit and see Ohio State for the first time in the city of Eugene. Pretty odd. Don't normally see that. But, yeah, I think, myself, I think a lot of others, Steve Wiltfong, everybody, Auburn and Oregon have been two schools that have been frequently mentioned for Offord for quite some time. And I feel like that's more of the battle than Ohio State keeping him at this point. So I think the Ducks have done a really good job there and kind of laid in the weeds. And I know Auburn made a really big push and was, gaining a lot of momentum there. But I think Oregon's just quietly been in a really good spot for Naeem Offord. And he's really been the guy they've wanted to kind of complete this, cornerback, defensive back group for them in this cycle. So Again, I know we just mentioned it with Stewart, but of course, this atmosphere, this game, it's going to be electric. If Oregon could be able to win, that would obviously be even better for the Ducks. ESPN game day, everything. You're going to have a lot to sell if you're Oregon.
Who's some early names that you're anticipating? I mean, I know we named Jakeem Stewart and Naeem Offord, just 2 5-stars right off the top, but other names that you're anticipating being on campus this weekend?
I know a pretty big contingent of the commits will be in town. Sounds like Akili Smith Jr. will be in town. Several others. I don't know why I'm totally blank. Cooper Perry actually just visited, and he's coming back. Jordan Davison, the running back from Mater Dei. So a lot of those guys be in town, which helps with the uncommitted guys. Not necessarily headliners in the recruiting world nationally, but for Oregon fans, they are. McKay Madsen, a linebacker, and Caleb Burns, a linebacker committed to Baylor. Those are a couple of guys that Oregon offered here late in the cycle, in the fall window here. And those guys should be on campus. And linebacker is a huge priority for Oregon right now. Another name and also another priority, Oregon's making a pretty big push with Penn State tight end Andrew Olish.
Yeah.
And he may also be in town for this weekend. As we both know, there's a whole week ahead. And these visits will get finalized. But I expect Oregon will have, anywhere from 15 to 25, 4-star or better 2025 and 2026 targets on campus.
Oh, and that could balloon to like upwards of 50 by the time Saturday rolls around. So we'll be keeping an eye on that all week. Duck fans, talk to us. Who do you want to see on campus this weekend? Is there anybody that you feel Oregon must get to campus for this Ohio State game? Let us know. Comment section below.